North Greenwich right now for the Urban Development Industry Takeover. There's going to be talks from people from all over the music industry. It's going to be good, so let's get inside and let's go check it out.
Just stay with me, baby. I can feel my heart breaking, so hold on to me, darling. 'Cause I know.
So we've just finished our day at the Urban Development Industry Takeover here in North Greenwich. Me and Louise are going to discuss what we thought of the panels.
Waiting all my life, so let's feel this moment while I'm by your side, baby.
So we're going to go back up into the air off the ground now. We just literally decided to come in a cable car and have a little look of London. But one of the talks I really liked was the Grime Daily one. The 5 points from that is definitely to push yourself, to keep your branding going, make sure that you put yourself online and always write content, especially as a blogger point of view. To write your content is really, really important. And the final one is to be passionate about what you do. Make sure that you know exactly where you want to go, the type of music you want to put on the website or write about, or to get your content out there. Take as many platforms as you can and just show that you love, live and breathe everything about that topic.
Hey guys, I'm just back from the Urban Development Industry Takeover Day, and one of the talks I attended was to do with how independent artists fare against artists with a major label backing. Here are my top 5 tips from what I learnt. The first one is prepared to hustle. Just because you got the music doesn't mean people are going to listen. You have to get it out there by sending it to people. The second one is that stats from TuneCore and other services like SpinUp are really useful in helping you build a case of why you should get major label backing, because labels want to back people with a bit of a track record, so they know their money is being well invested. The third thing is that Google doesn't have an algorithm for your years, so don't rely just on these stats. People will like what they want to like. My fourth tip is that people to buy into you as a brand, so that means you not just your music but like you as a person. So when they buy into you as a person, they're more likely to listen to your music. And the perfect example is Stormzy, because people like Stormzy for what he does as a person, and then they listen to his music. And my final top tip is most successful artists understand their aesthetic, which is their sound perception, how they look as a person. So don't think yourself as an artist anymore, think yourself as a business.
Tell me what can make you change your mind. Tell me what can make you change your mind. Tell me what can make you change your mind.
Hey guys, after a wild ride on the cable cars across London, we're on the train home now from Paddington to Cardiff, and then on to Pontypridd myself. And the other session that we've just been to is called Who Runs the World Girls. It's looking at the women behind the music industry, and it had Clara Marie Williams, who's the songwriter for Beyonce. She wrote Freedom off the new Lemonade album and Running. So she's also written stuff for the Saturdays and Craig David and many other really, really cool artists. There's also Leela Singh, who's the head of marketing at Eskimo Dance, which is looks after the big grime label. Also there's Melody Kane, who's like a real DJ of the scene, who's established, and she's at House DJ Fernando's, so you might hear her when you're having a cheeky one. And there's also Paige Keiki, who's a grime artist, but she's also on the Waterloo Road, so she's an actress coming to a grime artist and being supported by BBC Introducing. And then finally we had Vic Bain, who is the CEO for the British Academy of Songwriting of Classical and Contemporary Music. We've got 5 top tips for you to take with this session.
All those women were so inspiring as well. It was so nice to get them all to cheer on as well. So every time they said a good point, everyone was clapping. All the girls in the room were loving it. It was great. And one thing that I absolutely loved from it was the fact that they were like, just chase your dreams and try and get as many skills you possibly can. So if you can film, if you can present, if you're a DJ, if you're a musician trying to become an artist, you literally just need to chase and hone in as many skills as you can, and you'll get there. So that is my point number 1.
Number 2. Just support each other, girls. All the guys do it, so why not start supporting each other by sharing each other's work? If someone's just released a new track, or release a new video, got a gig coming up, why not attend, go out and buy, share, like all the videos and encourage other people to build your network up.
So number 3 is probably one of the biggest topics of them all. Now it's about image. So they recommended you going with a fairly blank canvas, and then you come out and you kind of go against your image. So try to go in with women are very sexualized and things like that, but try to go in with a normal blank canvas, and then when you get into the industry more, then you can kind of change your look, mix it about a bit, and maybe experiment with different styles. But for now, keep it fairly blank, get where you need to go, get where you want to be in the industry, and then you can start mixing up your look.
Tip number 4 is check out Girls Irate, which is Clara Marie Williams' website, which is aimed to network women across the UK in supporting each other and what they do.
So number 5 was a really interesting quote, and the quote was, moving in a pack with other women to network and get yourself into like a working curve with everyone. Networking and longevity will give you that strength. So if you work with other people, you'll get there a bit slower, but you'll get there with lots of networking. But if you do it on your own, you'll get there fast, but it might not necessarily mean that you stay there for a long time. So remember, working with other women is so important, and make sure you network. That's the biggest key of that point. And the final talk we went to was with Represent FM. Really good, local station in London. Really nice. An interesting panel as well. The crew came down, some really good presenters came down, tell us all about music and how young artists can get their stuff on the air, because it's so important for young artists to get their music on the air and how they can do that. Also streaming sites as well, and how important they are in the new day and age, but how it affects radio. So we're going to tell you a little bit more on our top 5 points on the radio and getting your stuff on the air.
So following on from that really great session with the Represent guys, the first thing that I really took on board was the rise of digital content plays with in radio. So you're not just using your voice now to speak to a live audience, you're also now being filmed and doing segments which is now posted on social media channels and like YouTube, Facebook, Twitter to engage more content. So when you're thinking of doing your interview on the radio, just think about how you're going to be perceived in a visual format. So dress well, sound clear, and be on your best behaviour really.
So point number 2 is all about radio demos. You've got to make sure the quality is good. Now, as a radio DJ myself, and talking amongst those radio DJs that represent FM, they know that the quality of a recording is so important, because that is going to get put out in the air, and that is what people are going to hear. Also, make sure that you are aware of watersheds, because radio, it don't have one. So if you can, make sure you edit a radio kind of version for the song that will go out, all clear, no swearing, or make sure you do an extra recording, so you do one with the swearing in and one without, and then you're guaranteed you've always got one for the radio and one for the own album or whatever you want to use it for.
Point number 3, so something which really grabbed me is that traditionally radio looks at to see what 16 to 21 year olds are looking at, so it's your students, but now they're looking even younger, between 10 and 16, so they can hook them into radio from an early age to keep the medium going. So when you're thinking about your music and what you're interviewing, just think about even that younger audience and how you portray yourself to them as being really fun and cool, because that's the band that's going to hook into you now for the rest of your career.
And number 4 is a really big deal. So now labels A&R are looking for artists through the radio. It's such a key source for people to find new material, especially if there's a specialist show that is playing all this new grime or new indie, anything that an artist can put out there that a record label might be able to see. It's a great platform to get your music heard by some really important people.
Tip number 5. Streaming is the future. Now, as much as I'm an album man and I love buying CDs and vinyls and listening to them, even I have embraced streaming, and so are radios. They're evolving ever so much, even to the point where Radio 1 are experimenting now by looking to see how their shows can fit more into a streaming format. Sure that you're using things like TuneCore, Spin Up, and making sure you're on all the available platforms for people to come and buy your music and stream, but you really can't ignore it, because I'm not.